welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to do a marathon of poor man meals. It's been a while since I showed you guys some new and refreshing poor man meals. These are going to be poor man meals that I consider very, very cheap and yet very, very delicious. They're all family approved. My kids liked them and everything. So here we go. Let's get started on some poor man meal marathon. All right, to get it started, we're going to be doing some TikTok ramen. That's right, you guys. This one is so easy and my favorite ramen that I've ever made. I'm telling you, this one was a huge hit. I started off by boiling 3 packages of ramen noodles. It really doesn't matter if you have beef, the shrimp one, the chicken one, because we're not going to use the seasonings. We're going to drain off the rest of that water once they're all done cooking. And I have 3 tablespoons of butter, and then about 2 tablespoons of garlic, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Go ahead and give that a mixture a really good stir. Okay, and then I'm going to add my noodles back to the pot and give that a really good stir. I have 3 eggs that I have lightly beaten, and I am just going to scramble those up. Once they are scrambled, we're going to incorporate it in with our noodles. And then just go ahead and give that a good stir until everything is nice and even. Look how delicious this looks, you guys. So, so good. I am really not that big on ramen, but this one was a huge hit. I like to top it with a little bit of that everything bagel seasoning right on top. So, so delicious. Y'all cannot go wrong with this one and super budget friendly. Up next is a Sloppy Joe cornbread bake. So the first thing we're going to need to do is get a small to medium sized mixing bowl, and we're going to put in 1 package of Jiffy cornbread mix, half a cup of milk, 1 cup of cheddar cheese, or I have Colby Jack cheese there, and 2 eggs. I'm also going to put in 1 can of creamed corn. All right, go ahead and give that a good stir. Once it's completely stirred through, we're going to go ahead and just put that off to the side. We're going to get a 9x13 pan out, and we're going to lightly grease that and just pour our cornbread mix right at the very bottom there. I'm going to bake this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. While that is cooking, I'm going to get started on my Sloppy Joes, and you guys, beef is very, very expensive, and so this ground pork is a very good option. They range from $2 to $3. It really depends on what you get, but that's pretty inexpensive compared to beef. So I went ahead and exchanged that out. So I'm just going to grind up our pork, drain off any excess grease, and then we just have 1 can of Sloppy Joe mix that we're going to go ahead and incorporate into our pork. Once it comes to a simmer, I'm going to take it off the heat, and we're going to come back to our cornbread because our cornbread should be done by now. And I'm just going to make sure this is nice and level on top. And then you guys can put American cheese. You guys can just do like a cheddar or a Colby Jack blend. It really is whatever you guys prefer. I have 1 cup here, but I would say 1 to 2 cups is about the right amount that you would need for these Sloppy Joes. Go ahead and put them back in the oven at 400 degrees for about 5 minutes. And then once it's done cooking, you guys, this is what it's going to look like. It is so, so delicious. It is so hearty, very, very inexpensive to make, and it feeds your whole family. This one really is a really good option. Next is ham and broccoli fettuccine. First thing we're going to get started on is our noodles. So you can use fettuccine noodles or spaghetti noodles, whatever type of noodles you prefer. Go ahead and let those get al dente. While that is cooking, we're going to get started on our butter. I have 2 tablespoons of butter here, and we're just going to melt that. I'm also going to do 2 cups of milk, or you can do half and half, whichever you prefer. I do prefer half and half just because I like it more thicker, but of course it's going to be a little bit more expensive if you do it that way. So you can definitely do milk. And then I have about 3 cups of broccoli that I went ahead and cut up. And so I'm just putting in just a little bit at a time. You can just eyeball if you want to do 2 cups or 3 cups. It's completely up to whatever you guys like to do. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on and just let that simmer for about 10 minutes. All right, once it's been simmering for about 10 minutes, and I've kind of broken up that broccoli just a little bit so it's more in bite-sized pieces, I'm going to take about 5 to 6 ounces of ham, and I'm going to place that in there. I do love the diced ham for a meal that's like this. You can do cubed, you can cut up your own ham, whatever you prefer. All right, I have half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of pepper, and then 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, and go ahead and give that a good stir. I'm going to add about 3/4 cup of Parmesan cheese and go ahead and stir that in there until it is nice and melted. All right, and I don't know what happened to the tint of my video, but it kind of went a little bit on the blue side there. I'm just going to incorporate my fettuccine noodles just a little bit at a time because I don't want to add too much and it not have a real good creamy texture, but this is what it looks like, y'all. Very, very delicious. Okay, next we're going to be doing one of my favorite meals, and that is chicken fried rice. I'm going to be doing all of this in one skillet. I'm just going to take 1 tablespoon of butter, and then I'm going to take 3 eggs, and I'm just going to go ahead and scramble that. Once they are scrambled, I'm also going to add in some peas and carrots, and just pour that right on top. And then I have about 2 cups of chicken, just some shredded chicken. I'm just going to put in there 1/4 cup of soy sauce, and then several tablespoons of the sesame oil. I actually ended up using a little bit more a little bit later. You just kind of never know how much you're going to need with the amount of rice that you're going to use. Then I did about 2 tablespoons of this sauce that I found in my fridge that I was really needing to get rid of. And then I have about 4 cups of already cooked rice that I just did in my Instant Pot. And then that is it. You just give it a good stir. This is super fast and easy, and it only takes maybe 15 to 20 minutes to whip together once your rice is done. I'm telling you, this one is a super delicious meal, and it makes so much, making it very, very budget friendly, really easy to do, and it's definitely a poor man meal because it just spreads so far, and it's very inexpensive to make. All right, now we're going to be making an Italian chicken pasta. This one is really good and very simple to make. Just get your Dutch oven out or soup pan, and we're going to put in 32 ounces of chicken broth. Next, I have 1/2 teaspoon of parsley, 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then I did about 1 tablespoon of garlic. Also 1.5 cups of half and half. And then I have about 10 ounces of pasta. And then 2 cups of diced chicken or shredded chicken, whatever you prefer. And then another 1.5 cups of water. And then I just went ahead and put the lid on and let that cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. I also decided to put in 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of mozzarella now that the noodles are done cooking. And you can also add like xanthan gum or cornstarch. You can do like a cornstarch slurry just to thicken it up if it's not completely how you would like. But this one's really good. It's a very good alternative to chicken noodle soup. It's very fast and easy and very, very delicious. And you can always add more pasta to make it go further. It's completely up to you. Addie, how's lunch today? Good. So we're having some Italian chicken soup, and then I just gave him some bread to go with it. How is it?
Good. It's the best thing. Mommy made it so good. You
say that every time.
You have to try it. You have to try it.
How about you?
Mm,
You don't know. Is it good?
I'll try it.
You have to try it. Do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Good deal.
So good that Mommy made it.
Okay. All right, now I'm gonna be doing a corn chowder using ramen noodles. This one is really good, so you're definitely gonna have to try this one. I need 2 cups of water. I'm just gonna make that come to a boil. And then I have 3 packages of ramen noodles, and I just crushed up all the ramen in there before putting it in there. And then I'm just going to just kind of make sure that they're in the very bottom and then that they're going to be able to soak up all that water. Next, I have 1 can of corn that we're going to toss in, 2 cups of milk, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of parsley, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of curry. And go ahead and give that a good stir. I also have 2 tablespoons of water and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I just did a little slurry to put into the soup mix just to make it a little bit more thick. And then 1 cup of cheddar cheese. Go ahead and give that a good stir. You guys, this one's really good. And I just topped it with some bacon bits. Of course, you don't have to because that's not really budget friendly, but it does add a lot of flavor to it. It's very creamy texture. I was very pleasantly surprised with this. It did come out a little on the salty side, so if you want to lay off the garlic powder, that would probably be fine too. Maybe just add in some minced garlic. That would probably make this meal even better. Next is 1 pot chicken and rice. To our big skillet that already has bacon grease or olive oil, you can put in 1 cup of diced up carrots and then 2 cups of rice. I have 1 tablespoon of minced onion, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of parsley, and then go ahead and give that a good stir, getting all those flavors combined properly. And then I have 4 cups of chicken broth and then 4 cups of water. And then go ahead and give that another good stir. I also have 2.5 cups of shredded up chicken that we're gonna put in there. All right, and then once all of that water has been soaked up into the rice, your rice should be perfect by now. And that's really it. I topped mine with a little bit of Parmesan cheese, but seriously, just basic ingredients with some seasonings is gonna go a long way for this type of meal. Very, very budget friendly. Just an awesome idea if you're trying to make your meals just stretch even further. This one is a huge hit. Next is going to be 1 pot chicken and broccoli fettuccine. So we're going to start off by boiling our fettuccine noodles. And I did about 10 ounces of fettuccine noodles. I do this whole package here, but I don't actually end up using all of them. So I would say about 10 ounces is all that you're going to need. Once they are al dente, you're just going to strain them and just kind of leave them there for just a little bit. We're going to take 1 jar of our Prego sauce and put it in the bottom of our pan. And then I also filled it all the way up with water just to get all of that Alfredo sauce out. I have 10 ounces of cut up broccoli that I went ahead and put in, and then 1 can of chicken, and of course shredded chicken. It like rotisserie chicken is going to be better in my opinion, but I just had this on hand, so I went ahead and used that up. And then I'm just trying to dice the chicken the best that I can and just go ahead and give it everything a really good stir. I'm gonna add in 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and go ahead and just add in our noodles just a little bit at a time because I don't want to put in too much noodles to where it's not gonna be a creamy texture. So here is most of it that you see right here. And then I am just a little bit at a time just incorporating that in with our Alfredo sauce. And then I add just a little bit of Parmesan cheese right on top. This is a simple meal that anyone can make. It's very budget friendly. Such a great poor man meal. Honestly, it's really just minimal ingredients. And of course, if you want to make your own Alfredo sauce, that would make this meal even better. But this one was a very delicious dinner option. Next, we're going to be making a pizza ramen. You guys can doll this up however you want. I just did a very plain and basic one. So we're going to take 4 blocks of ramen noodles in some boiling water and just place them in there until they are al dente, and then go ahead and strain off the excess water. I did put about 2 packets of the chicken seasoning in with just like a little bit of water, probably about a half of a cup of water. And then I had this whole jar of pizza sauce that I went ahead and added. And I'm just gonna go ahead and give that a really good stir. And then you can put like pepperonis, you can put ham, sausage, whatever you guys want. I just ended up just using some seasonings and then also some cheese. So I have some Italian seasoning that I put in there, also mozzarella cheese. I didn't really measure, but it's about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning and then a cup of mozzarella cheese. And then just go ahead and give that a good stir. And then that is it. Here it is. I do think some pepperonis would be really, really good in this, but it was actually really good just like this. The kids really enjoyed it. It was very cheesy, very delicious, and just really a hearty meal. All right, up next is some chicken and gravy, and I like to put this over a bed of rice, but you can definitely do mashed potatoes as well. I have about 5 very, very thin chicken breasts. I'm probably about 2.5 regular chicken breasts. And I have 1 packet of chicken gravy and 1 packet of turkey gravy. Either is fine. It really doesn't matter. I think chicken would be better, but it really honestly does not matter. And then I have 1 can of cream of chicken soup and then 2 cups of water. I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on and let that cook on a low heat for about 5 hours. Since it's very fine chicken breast, it really shouldn't take very long, or you could do this on high for about 2 to maybe 3 hours. All right, and then I'm gonna put in about a teaspoon of parsley and then go ahead and give that a good stir. And that is it. Everything is completely done. You just have to make some rice or some mashed potatoes. You can put it on you can have like a roll and some green beans on the side. Those are very inexpensive as well, but I love this meal. It is very budget friendly. Definitely what I would consider a poor man meal. I mean, it is just very, very basic, but yet it goes a long way and it feeds an entire family just perfectly. I love this meal and my whole family does as well. Next is going to be a Cajun sausage and noodles. So to our Dutch pan, I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 onion that I have finely diced up along with a couple tablespoons of bacon grease. I have 1 package, which is about 16 ounces of smoked sausage, and I just dice those up into bite-sized pieces. I'm going to cook that along with my onions. Next, I have about a tablespoon of minced garlic that I'm going to go ahead and mix in with my sausage and onion mixture. I have half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of salt. Go ahead and give that a good stir as well. All right, and then I have 2 cups of chicken broth, 1 can of diced tomatoes that I went ahead and threw in there, half a cup of half and half, and then 10 ounces of penne noodles. And then I just wanted to try to submerge those noodles into the liquid there before putting the lid on. Let that cook for about 15 to 20 minutes until those noodles are nice and al dente. And then I added about half a cup of some Mexican blend cheese. I also added about a fourth of a cup of mozzarella cheese, and then about another half a cup of Parmesan cheese. And then I'm just throwing in really any type of cheese that I have on hand. You do not have to make it this cheesy at all. I'm literally just throwing in cheese that, you know, I have in my fridge that I do not want to go bad, so I'm just tossing that in. But you only need about a cup to a cup and a half of some cheese, and then make sure it's nice and incorporated, and that is it. I just served this with some green beans. This is really good with some bread on the side or a salad. Very, very delicious, very hearty, and if adding anything with pasta, it's going to spread and make your meals go further. All right, now we're gonna be making some ramen and hot dogs, which this one is super easy. If you guys are used to making like some mac and cheese and hot dogs, it's very similar to that. I am just going to take some ramen noodles and put it in some boiling water. It really doesn't matter how much, whatever much you need. I end up doing, I think, 5 packages of ramen noodles, and then just draining off all the excess water once they are al dente. All right, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and take this whole package of hot dogs and just slice them up and put them at the very bottom of the skillet. Trying to make sure that they all go into the skillet is always a task. All right, and then I just kind of saute these just for like a couple of minutes, and then I put in a tablespoon of butter and then half a cup of milk. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put our ramen bag in there. I also put 1 cup of sharp cheddar cheese, and then just go ahead and mix that all together. And it's literally that simple. And if you want to use more of like a creamier type of dairy product, half and half would be really good in this, but milk is very inexpensive, so I went ahead and just did milk. This was so delicious. I think I actually liked it more when I do like regular Kraft mac and cheese. It was just that good. Fiesta Chicken is one of those meals that is on repeat in this household. We have it all the time because it is so simple and easy, and I love to put it in the crock pot. We're gonna need 1 block of cheese, 1 can of black beans, 1 can of Rotel, 1 can of corn, 1 ounce package of ranch seasoning. And then I usually do chicken breast. You can put just regular chicken breast at the very bottom, which I usually do about 2 big chicken breasts, or you can do about 3 cups of shredded chicken. I have half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then half a teaspoon of cumin, and then 1 tablespoon of chili powder, and then go ahead and give that a mix. If you just want to add 1 ounce of taco seasoning, I usually do that. You can definitely do that way. You can also add 1 cup of water, or you can do 1 cup of chicken broth. I've done it both ways and both turn out wonderful. You guys just go ahead and shred up the chicken if you need to, or you can just stir everything up all together. I usually top this with like a little bit of cheddar cheese, and then I'm gonna put this over a bed of rice. This is so simple. It goes for days. I'm telling you, this meal lasts for days. It's so good. Very delicious and very budget friendly. How is it, Bubba?
It's good.
It's good? You like it? Good stuff? You like it?
Super good.
Super good. What'd you?
Good.
Hi, do you like it?
Yes, but it's spicy.
It is not spicy.
Yeah, it is.
She's weird. Daddy, this is spicy. There's like not even a hint of spiciness.
It's only spicy because I put this in it.
What do you have to say for yourself?
It's spicy.
Okay. Up next is 1 pot sausage and rice. This is more of like a Cajun style. So I have a couple tablespoons of bacon grease that I've already melted, and then I have 1 onion that I have diced up. I'm gonna take this smoked sausage and just cut them up into bite-sized pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that into the pan and let that cook for just a couple minutes. Next, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of garlic and 1 cup of chicken broth. And then 1 teaspoon of Cajun seasoning, 1 teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then half a teaspoon of onion powder. And go ahead and give that a good stir, getting all those flavors combined. I'm also going to put in 1 can of petite diced tomatoes. It doesn't have to be petite, that's just what we enjoy. And then 1 cup of rice. Go ahead and give that another good stir as well. Go ahead and put the lid on and let that cook for about 15 to 20 minutes until your rice has soaked up all of that liquid. And now I'm going to go ahead and add 1 can of kidney beans that I've already rinsed and drained off all of the water there. All right, and then just go ahead and give that a good stir to get that combined well. I went ahead and put the lid on and let that cook for another 5 minutes until those beans are nice and warm. And here we go. This is what it's looking like. This one is very, very delicious. It has so many flavors in it. It really doesn't even make it feel like it's a budget menu item at all. It is very, very good. You can also double this recipe or just add more rice to this. This fed our family of 6 perfectly, but if you're a bigger family, you might want just a little bit more rice to make it spread a little bit further. All right, up next is chicken noodle casserole. First thing we're going to do is get started on our noodles. We want to go ahead and cook those up. So I have about 10 ounces of egg noodles that I'm going to be putting into this saucepan. And we're just going to let that cook until they are al dente. While that is cooking, we're going to go ahead and get started on our chicken. I have 2 pounds of chicken breast I went ahead and diced up, and I'm just going to cook them on this skillet. Once that is done cooking, I'll put it off to the side, and then I have a large mixing bowl that I'm going to go ahead and put 2 cups of mixed vegetables, 1 cup of milk, and then 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. We're just going to go ahead and put that all together in this mixing bowl. I have 1 cup of mayo as well. And then 2 cups of shredded cheese. I'm going to go ahead and only put 1 cup at the moment. We're going to save the other cup for the topping at the very end. Go ahead and give all of that a really good stir, getting that well combined. I'm going to go ahead and add our chicken into that mixing bowl. Just go ahead and add all of it, and you can salt and pepper your chicken. You can flavor it however you desire. I just did salt and pepper for flavoring. All right, and go ahead and get that mixed up. We're gonna put that off to the side, and we're going to spray our 9x13 pan. We're gonna add all of those noodles, and then we're going to add in that mixture that we have just made. And then we're just gonna go ahead and get that all stirred. You wanna stir it for just a couple minutes to get all of that well combined properly. And this is going to be pretty creamy. You may think you have too much of that mixture, but it's actually a really good amount of mixture. So don't add more things to it. That's how it's supposed to be. And then go ahead and then top it with that cheese that we had left out. I'm gonna go ahead and melt that butter. We just have 1 stick of butter. And then I have about 3/4 a cup of these breadcrumbs. I measured out 1 cup, but I only needed about 3/4 of a cup. And then we're gonna take that melted butter and just pour it right on top of those breadcrumbs. Our oven is preheated to 375. We're gonna place that in the oven for 30 to 40 minutes. This is what it's gonna look like when it's all done. I love the breadcrumbs on top because it gives it such a great crunch. I actually really enjoy that. I love having a good chicken noodle casserole. There are so many different ways that you can make it. I really enjoy this one. It is very, very creamy. I love all of the vegetables. And of course, you can add whatever type of vegetables that you desire. I love mixed vegetables, but you guys can just do peas and carrots or whatever you guys really enjoy. Up next, we're going to do Paula Deen's goulash. You guys, this one is really good, and I'm not a huge fan of goulash. First thing we're gonna do is a big soup pan or Dutch oven. We're going to ground up 1 pound of ground beef. You can also do about 1.5 pounds, completely up to you. And then we are going to add 1 tablespoon of garlic and then go ahead and drain off any excess grease. To our pan, we're gonna go ahead and add 2 cups of water and then 2 cans of tomato sauce. And then about 30 ounces of diced tomatoes. And then I have some spices here. So I did 1.5 teaspoons of salt and then 1/2 teaspoon of pepper and 1/2 teaspoon of garlic pepper. And then I also did 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, and then I'm just gonna put in some bay leaves. I'm also gonna do about 2 tablespoons, or maybe I end up doing more like 3 or 4 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. And then I'm going to put in 2 cups of elbow macaroni and just give all of that a really good stir. Getting all those seasonings combined, and then I'm going to go ahead and put our ground beef right back into that mixture. Go ahead and give that one last stir before we put the lid on. And then I'm just going to let that cook for probably about 25 minutes. Just let it cook, just kind of let it be, make sure it's on a medium heat. And then once it is done, this is what it will look like. I love how like thick it is, and I just like add some cheese on top. You can also add some sour cream. I think that would be lovely as well. This one was a really big hit. All right, now we're gonna be making some salsa chicken. This one is so simple. We're gonna do it all in a crock pot. It's very minimal ingredients as well. I'm gonna go ahead and lightly grease that crock pot. We're gonna put in 2 large chicken breasts, or I just did like 4 very thin chicken breasts, and then I have 1 packet of taco seasoning, or you can make your own seasoning and throw that in there. 1 cup of salsa. And then just put the lid on. I'm gonna let that cook on a low heat for about 4 to 5 hours, just because my chicken breasts are very thin. And as you can see here, it is just falling off and shredding very, very easily. That is really all that you need. I always like to add like black beans or anything that's kind of like that, like a pinto bean or anything, any type of bean like that. But honestly, it's really good just by itself. You can also add some lime juice to this mixture. I think that would make this meal even better, but I'm just gonna top it with some sour cream and some cheese on top. Y'all, this one is a huge hit. It is so simple to make, and it feeds your family perfectly. Very minimal ingredients. It's just a wonderful dinner. Next, I'm going to be doing pepperoni and cheese sliders. This one's really easy as well. In a 9x13 pan, I'm going to go ahead and lightly grease that and just slice our rolls in half and put the bottom layer at the very bottom of our casserole dish. I'm going to take probably about 1/3 of this pizza sauce, maybe 1/2 cup or so, and I'm just going to put the sauce on the bottom layer. I mean, if you guys like more sauce, you can do more or less. Depends on what you like. Then I'm going to take about 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese. Again, it's just however much cheese that you like. I like things a little bit more on the cheesy side. I have these mini pepperonis, which I find great for a meal like this. And I'm just going to place them right on top of our cheese. All right, and you can also do some Italian seasoning on it as well. I'm going to go ahead and just lightly butter these rolls. I'm also going to put just a little bit of garlic just right on top as well. And then I have some Italian seasoning that I'm going to top and just put that on top of our buttered rolls. I probably would only do about 1/2 teaspoon. All right, and go ahead and put that in the oven at 375 for only about 8 to 15 minutes. It really just depends on how toasty you like yours. This is what it looks like, y'all. This was so easy. I consider this more of like a lunch item. It was very, very delicious, super easy to throw together. And then I just paired it with some chips, and boom, you have dinner or lunch ready to go. Super, super delicious and easy. Perfect for if you have no idea what to cook that night. You just want something super easy to do. And you probably have most of the ingredients on hand anyways. Next, I'm going to be doing a chicken burrito bowl. Love this meal. Seriously, one of my faves. I'm going to go ahead and lightly grease my crock pot. I'm going to put about 3 pounds of chicken thighs at the very bottom. I have a cup and a half of chicken broth, and then I'm gonna put in 2 tablespoons of lime juice. I'm also going to put in about an ounce of taco seasoning. And then I have about 16 ounces of black beans. I'm just gonna throw those in there. I had those in my freezer. And then I'm gonna put in 1 can of corn, 1 can of Rotel, 1 can of diced tomatoes. I love using petite diced tomatoes. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on, let that cook on a low heat for about 6 hours. I'm telling you, this one is so good. It's going to be so tender. I'm just gonna use my meat masher and just try to shred up that chicken, and I'm shredding it up no problem at all. It's coming apart so easily. All right, now that all of that is shredded, mine is a little bit more juicier than normal, so if you wanna omit the chicken broth, you can do that. But I just put it over a bed of rice, and then I topped it with some cheese and some sour cream. You cannot go wrong with this meal. So good. I like to have this with some chips and dip on the side as well, but just this itself, like, it spreads so far. You guys, this is seriously a budget meal by far. It's so delicious as well. And finally, we're going to be making some creamy ramen. So I have 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to go ahead and melt that in my Dutch oven. 2 cups of milk. Of course, you can do half and half to make it even more creamy. And then 2 cups of beef broth. I have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then 1 teaspoon of parsley. And then I have about 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. That's all that's left in that container. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything stirred up, and that butter is going to get nice and melted. Once it comes to a slight simmer, I'm gonna go ahead and put in 4 bricks of ramen noodles. And of course, you can cut this recipe down. I just have 4 children, so I am baking for all of us here. So that's why I'm doing so many ramen noodles. All right, and then I'm just gonna try to break up those noodles so that those noodles get submerged into that liquid. All right, I'm just gonna let that cook probably about 5 minutes until those noodles are nice and al dente. And if you have to take out a little bit of liquid, that's fine. You don't want it too liquidy, or else you might have to thicken it up a little bit later. I have 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna go ahead and give that a good stir. That's it. That is all that we need for this. This ramen is superb. Very, very delicious. It's super creamy and cheesy. I definitely highly recommend making your ramen this way. I love to amp up ramen any way that I can. It is very inexpensive to buy ramen, so I know this is extremely budget friendly. And of course, I consider any ramen basically a poor man meal just because of how inexpensive they are. So we're gonna amp up this ramen just a bit, and we're gonna make this tasting absolutely delicious. This one is a huge hit. You can have this for lunch or for dinner. It's completely up to you. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoy. I hope that you enjoy these type of videos where I show you meals that you can make on the cheap but yet still delicious, and things that your family are actually going to enjoy. So thanks so much for watching this video. Go ahead and give me a big thumbs up if you have not already. I'd love to have you here on this channel. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.